Today we're checking out the internet's best worst kept secret. That's the one. The new Riddim Ting from Teenage Engineering. So we have a bunch of new updates on the EP40 or Riddim that we don't have in the EP133 or EP1320. Teenage Engineering have now included loop playback on the device. We have a variety of new dub style effects. We also now have the inclusion of a synth engine directly on the device titled Supertone. This includes 10 unique reggae-inspired synth engines for us to play with. Straight out of the box, the device comes preloaded with 8 presets that Teenage Engineering have designed with a variety of dub and reggae producers. It's a hell of a lot of fun to quickly play through these projects. If I press play on this, we can turn on and off our loops. The workflow is essentially the same as the previous EP Grid series products. Anyone familiar with those should be able to just press play and get going with the Riddim. Each preset project is laid out to include 3 loops on the top 3 keys of the drum project with 1-shots on the next 2 rows relating to those drum loops, and then fills that you can trigger on the bottom row. The bass and keys groups, or groups B and C, are laid out to also include loops on the top, but then have 1-shot samples on the next 3 rows that melodically align with the preset project. Group D is set up for our sound effects and vocals. Each one features 3 rows of 1-shot sound effects with the 3 sound effects supertone engines ready to go on the top row. These synth engines come pre-mapped with velocity sensitivity for modulation, making them really fun dub sirens to play with. Pair this with a bit of effect, and you've got endless fun. So let's create a clean project, start from scratch, and make ourselves a beat. So I'm going to jump over to project 9, which I know is clear. And in group A, I'm going to assign myself some sounds. Let's choose that. So now that we have our drum sounds assigned to group A, let's quickly put in a hi-hat pattern, resample that we can trigger through playback later on. We're going to do something techno-inspired, so I'm going to set the tempo to 130. Now, even though this is a reggae-inspired device, it is not exclusively for use with reggae. The sounds included on here, I feel, are suitable for use with almost any type of music. All right, so we have 120. Let's put an off hat with this one, but I'm just going to quickly go to the envelope and trim this up a little bit so it's not so intense. Get some playback going. Maybe we'll trim this one up a little bit too. Let's set the panning of this sound to the left and this one to the right. Great, now let's record a loop. If I jump over to the sample menu, I can use our input, which is currently receiving signal from the Ting. But let's use the plus and minus buttons to jump over to resample. We'll go to resample in stereo mode. We have the 2 speakers selected. I'm going to press Shift and pad 7, which is currently empty. This is going to enable our hands-free recording. And then by pressing plus, we now have 1 bar assigned for the recording length. So if I press play, we've now recorded that 1 bar loop. I jump back out here. That's recorded in there. So let's quickly erase this pattern now. So we have no information on pattern A. If I press play, we can now trigger these hats as we want them. So let's do this again for a couple more things. We're going to record in 16-note hi-hat. All right, sweet. Let's leave it at that. And again, let's go into sample. I'm going to choose pad 8, stereo, and then Shift 8, 1 bar again, press play. Great, we have that one ready to go. Now we have our 2. Oh, we don't want to do that. Let's erase that pattern again. And now we have our 2 top loops ready to go. The beauty of this means we don't really have to worry about continuing to program our hi-hats as we go. We can then change these sounds for more percussive elements and keep all of our drums in the one group. So let's go to sound 300. We've got some percussion in there now. Let's put a kick drum down. We've got the bones of what we're going to start working with down here. Let's move on to our next scene. So Shift and Main allows us to move on to the next scene. That copies the pattern we're on. So if I hold down our group, we'll now see we're on A2. And in fact, every group is going to be on sequence 2. If I jump back to scene 1, we'll know we're on scene 1. Nothing's recorded onto here for those groups, meaning that if we go back there, we just have that drum breakdown happening. So jumping back to scene 2, let's use one of these new Supertone synth engines. I'm going to go down to the tune button at the bottom, and I'm going to press sound and tune. We can see we have SU come up for Supertone. This now allows us to choose one of the 10 synth engines. Let's choose the first engine here, a bass engine. So jumping back out of here, let's quickly set up the scale that we want to be in. If I go over to scale mode, we're in 12 tone right now. Let's make it minor, and then Shift and Enter. Let's set the key. We'll stick with D, with keys mode enabled. We can now play this synth in the key of D minor across the 12 pads. So, we're in scene 2. Sweet. Let's make a 2-bar loop here. Sweet. If I jump into the sound edit menu when we're on this synth engine, we can then go over to our Supertone and shape up the sound a bit. The edge sounds so nice on this engine, I really love it. And then making the tone a little bit bright, it's really fun. We do have a filter that we can use across that group. So I feel like making that synth engine a little bit brighter that we can shape afterwards is a bit more fun to work with. So let's record some filter automation on top of that now, actually. So like we can get some real dubby sort of basses going on like this. Let's add some effects to this bass as well. So we're gonna go to the effects, dial this in a little bit. This RE201S tape delay sounds so nice. It's really, the color on it is so pleasant. Sweet. While we're here, let's go over to a new scene. So scene 3, we've got everything copied over. Let's add a snare drum in here. Sweet. All right, let's create a new scene. In scene 4, let's add one of the new Supertone synth engines in here. This time we're going to choose one dedicated more so for like our keys, skank style sounds. So again, pressing sound and the tune button takes us straight to our Supertone synth engine menu. Let's try number 4. It's sort of like a fun stringing style sound. So maybe we can use that for like a bit of a drone. Let's go. Up the octave and let's shape up that sound. Let's add a little bit of the modulation to this. Extra wobble. Maybe we'll roll some of the lows off. Jump back to our main, add a keys menu. We've got that there. Let's copy it over again so we have a fresh scene. We'll go over to a new pad and again, sound and tune. Let's go synth engine 5. right, sweet. Let's add some stabs, but I'm actually just gonna quickly turn the volume of that one down. We just wanted to sit right in the background. Let's use the note repeat to get some stabs going. So let's duplicate the length of this again. So we've got a 4-bar loop now. Go back to the start. We'll get a count in. Sweet. I don't like that last bit, so let's erase that when it comes back around. That one. Which one is that one? Let's jump over to the synth engine, Supertone synth engine. We've got tone. So while we've got that all going, we also do have the sidechain mode from the EP133 on the Riddim. So let's make the most of that being here. We can sweep, everything's set up correctly. Let's choose the shape. We can get that real pump going on. Then if we go over to Group D, let's add a couple of sound effects as well. So if we go to 730, I think. No. Yeah, 731. So let's go over to 731. 731 will give us our classic air horn. Dilla style sirens right on the device. Love that that's included straight away with our lasers. So many fun sounds. Air horn. We even have like a tape style hiss in here, which is fun. Let's just record that in. Cool. Great. So as you can see, this is a stupid amount of fun to play with. The sounds that it comes with are so well put together. I'm not a vocalist, so I'm not going to be using the Ting myself, but it's very cool. I do love the fact that we have air horns, lasers, gunshots included right there for playback. It's battery powered, it's portable. You can definitely take it around and start up your own sound system party just with these devices. Overall, I think the Riddim is an absolute knockout. Thanks to the team at Teenage Engineering for allowing us to get our hands on this unit early. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you in the next one. Check out the Riddim Ting in stores now. And then one last one.